Hello internets, this is BoneCarlos coming to you live from Ohana. Today we have a PVZ, but with me again is Esnov. Say hello, Esnov.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, that's right, it is morning today. The players are going to be Fugit spawning as the blue Protoss. His opponent is going to be OMNOMNOM. For here on out he will be known as or Omnom. We'll see how that goes. It's a PVZ on Ohana. Esnov, as our resident genius at StarCraft 2, between the two of us, what do you expect out of these players?
Well, you mentioned that the Protoss player from one before the replay we looked at. They're both diamond or platinum levels, so I'm expecting good solid macro, and definitely gonna see a lot of roaches. Definitely
gonna see a lot of roaches. That is most definitely true. Just because on this map in particular, Protoss loves doing the Sentry Immortal all-in sort of thing, and generally that's at that time Zerg only has Zerglings and Roaches, so expect to see some Roach carnage, hopefully some Roach shredding, and hopefully the Protoss player comes out victorious, just because I'm a Protoss player. But yeah, that's it for that. Ohana, as you guys know, easy to secure natural expansion, backdoor rocks leading to the third, which pretty much gives Zerg players pause to go into that third base kind of thing. A narrow ramp leading up to that natural expansion, and already we see Omnom just going to go ahead and seize that forward placing pylon, and he's going to rally his drone back and forth to deny any quick expansion.
Yeah, he's definitely going to want to try to deny as quick as possible. It looks like our Protoss player has the same idea, but he's kind of camping out the Zerg natural, so we've got kind of an eye for an eye thing here going on.
Yeah, definitely, and right now the Forge is already down for Fugit, and actually a spawning pool is down for Omnom, so this is going to be interesting. Normally when I see a spawning pool so early, compared to the hatchery, especially when I'm Forge fast expanding, I want to complete my wall off. I want to put down that pile, complete my wall off and put down that cannon before I put down my natural expansion, just in case he decides to try to sneak by 6 links behind that wall. Omnom is going to take the gas, but really, not really too crazy about this move. There's still 3 other viable options for gas. For Protoss, it would have been a little bit nicer for him to take down the gas in the main base, but you know what? Omnom is deciding to do what he's going to do when he wants to do it. Gateway already down for Fugit, and in Omnom's natural expansion, we see already a hatchery going down.
Yep, he's getting that natural expansion up and running. Going for that pull first to be a little bit safer. He is producing 4 links, probably just run out, scout, kind of just gain some general map control, grab the watchtower. Yeah, just make sure there's no kind of early pokes coming.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. If you used all 6 of his larva to produce those Zerglings, that might have been a little bit different. But with 4, 1 at each watchtower, a third just kind of patrolling here and there, just making sure exactly what's going on. And Omnom decides to let that extractor finish, so not really too much of a crazy part from a Zerg player, since it's only about 25 minerals if I am correct. Cybernetic score is already down. Omnom decides to rush his lings back. That's very not very a good decision, since 3 go down. Remember, 1 photon cannon will bring down a single Zergling in 2 shots. And the route that he took, 3 went down, so a waste of, well, you know what, 75 minerals, 2 larvae. I'm not really sure I agree with that. The Zealot is going to go ahead and chase away that final Zergling, but really a single Zergling isn't going to do anything. Very bad exchange, in my opinion, for Omnom.
Yeah, well, the one nice thing is Zerglings are a little bit on the disposable side, and if there were actually anything vital to see in here, then it would have actually been a fairly okay move if he saw something that he needed to see, like a Stargate, you know, or something like that. But at this time period, there's not going to be much in there to see, especially after a Forge fast expand.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, at that point, a single Overlord could have done the same thing.
Yep.
So that's why I'm questioning it, really, especially since that last Zealot gets a kill to its name. But really, Omnom is playing very standard in response to that Forge fast expand. Already has his hatchery at his 3rd up and running. Doesn't have any gases just yet. He might want to start taking those within the next 30 seconds or so. Looking at the income tab, we see the harvester count is actually in Omnom's favor, which is natural, since Fugit does have his natural expansion up and running. Warp gate tech on the way, +1 weapons already researching, and 3 more gateways. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4 more gateways are being built, so going to be a gateway heavy push. This is very I'm not sure. I'm not sure this is the exact build order for that Immortal Sentry all in, especially since there aren't any probes in that assimilator, no assimilars at the natural expansion, and that extractor is still up and running, and another gateway does go down.
It's looking to me. It's looking to me like a 7-gate +1 push here, because he's got 7 gateways. He's got his +1 weapons coming up. The only thing is, 1 gas though out of all of this, and that gas isn't even mining.
Nope. It looks like he just mined enough for that warp gate tech, so we might see some very heavy zealot play. Yup, very heavy zealot indeed, since he's putting down 2 more gateways on top of that. So that brings the total up to 8 gateways. So wow, this is very interesting play out of fugit. I haven't seen this an 8 gateway zealot push. What do you expect out of this?
Well, if he doesn't have gas, that kind of limits his options for sure, but I'd really like to just see him get some gas and just do a standard 7-8 gate +1 type of push, because that could really punish our Zerg player with the utter lack of defenses that he's got and just the small amount of lings and low tech.
Yeah, definitely 16 Zerglings are going to pop in a few seconds in responses, but 16 Zerglings are there. Their zealots are just going to rush into the main base, more than likely for scouting purposes. Fugit is just putting all of the pylons anywhere he can around the map. Here come the warp-ins. A nice little distraction actually by pushing the zealots into the main base, because the warped-in zealots are going to attack the 3rd base, immediately try to take down that spine crawler, and it will go down very quickly, especially with those 8 zealots whacking at it, way at it. And right now we see the minerals are lining up just about evenly for Fugit. He has about 800 minerals now, 100 zealots per warpin, and it looks like Fugit decides to sack, trying to bring down the hatchery and attacks his Zerglings instead. He almost had that down. Transfuses does bring that hatchery up back into orange, but it was in red for quite some time.
It was quite injured. And that actually, I never knew that transfusion had such good range on it until right now.
Yeah, the range is pretty potent. Here it comes, the dance of death. Zealots are going to go ahead and chase the queen around the map, and right now 18 Zerglings are being built in response to this. One queen pops, immediately gets destroyed. I want to see the focus on this hatchery. There it begins. There it goes. Hatchery is in the red, going to go down. The Zerglings aren't going to get there in time. The 3rd goes down. Fresh warp-in, zealots everywhere, Zerglings everywhere. No surrounds needed, really. And here it comes. So it's going to be zealot versus Zergling. This is the type of matchup you see, I don't know, day 1 of release, up against 2 bronze level players. This is just, I'm loving this. No spellcasters, no ranged units aside from the queen. Oh, I'm loving this carnage.
And this definitely brings back to the days where I used to play Brood War and just, you know, just kind of mess around on fastest or whatnot. And, you know, zealots, just get a bunch of gateways and just send a fat ton of zealots down there. What he really would have in that engagement really would have been a little bit more cost effective for him had he got his zealots into that corner up on the ramp on the natural, because they are +1, so they 2-shot Zerglings now because of that upgrade, and he could have at least done more damage, you know, in terms of taking out Zerglings if he had done that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what he was looking for. Unfortunately, he just couldn't quite get it. He tried to do that with that main push, or that early push with those 4 zealots into the main, trying to get his zealots into an advantageous position, but they were just surrounded. Couldn't really quite do it. And he tried to do it a couple more times, but he just couldn't. It was just a little bit too slow, and it would have been very advantageous for him. But still, we see OMNOM going to go ahead and do a counter push, going to go straight into that 3rd, not see anything from Fugit. Say, I'm going to go ahead and go on back into to that watchtower, but at the same time there's going to be another attack at the 3rd. Roaches versus zealots. Unmicroed zealots are going to win, definitely day in, day out. It looks like OMNOM says, oh wait a minute, I gotta pull on back, and here comes that mass exodus of roaches. Going to go ahead and try to cross the map yet again, but the hatchery is cancelled. So 2 base zealot, 2 base Protoss versus 2 base Zerg. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Zealot's going to go ahead and go into the natural expansion, and right now Fugit is actually buying himself a great amount of time to build up his and just use up his gas, really, that he's been lacking for, I don't know, the better part of, you know, 10 minutes now.
Yep, he's finally getting those immortals out, getting some sentries out. Maybe he is eventually going to move into Immortal Sentry all in.
The good old-fashioned 18-minute Immortal Sentry all in, followed an 8-gate Zealot rush. Man, that is just a staple and really OP in my opinion.
Ah, so OP.
What did you say earlier? They are the original OP race. Spoken like a true Terran.
We're forever gonna live with a chip on our shoulder.
Yep, and don't worry, we will blast it off with our pew pew lasers, and Zerg go ahead and just chew it off. No big deal. What I'm not liking out of Fugit's play is that he has an assimilator here at his natural expansion. A great saturation on his minerals. In fact, oversaturation and none in his assimilator. So when assimilator is not being used, at the moment, go ahead and take his destructible rocks down, gearing up to take that third. And right now, I think Omnom is just at a loss. He hasn't seen something like this. His third is just going back up, and now he's going to go ahead and try to push yet again. And this is a very interesting play by Fugit. He has a double immortal, plenty of sentries with plenty of energy. It looks like a couple of force fields to their names. Quite a few with only one, but he could actually hold this for quite some time, especially with the amount of cannons that he's putting down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cannons at the main. The gateway is going to finish off that wall off, so nothing going to happen there. Fugit's going to go ahead and play it safe after pretty much just denying Omnom third base for quite some time.
Yeah, he's got 2 denies on that thing already. I'd really like to see him throw down a third himself, though. Our Protoss player, Fugit, that is. And just start getting that death ball going, because delaying that third twice could put him in a really nice position. To that.
Oh my God! Just heard the Nidus worm pop. Awesome play by Omnom. The roaches are streaming in. Zealots don't even have a chance to finish the warping. This is gonna split Fugit up in 2 ways. Really, the stalkers are there, but they're gonna get one-shot by the amount of units there in Omnom's face. And here come the sentries, here come the force fields, the guardian shields, the immortals doing the damage, but the damage is done. I would actually like to see Omnom just pull on out at this moment. He's causing plenty of damage. But really, he's just going for it. He's going to go ahead and try to one-shot these immortals. One immortal shield is down. One immortal will go down, and 2 more volleys brings a one-shot on those immortals. The roach count is just too high. Sentries go down. The entire force is wiped out for Fugit. Looks like the supply lead is dwindling for himself. 87 right now, 119 for Omnom, and a single immortal pops, sees what's going on in the base, says, you know what, Fugit this, I'm going to go into the natural expansion. And the main base of Fugit is done. Supply block, Omnom's third is up. There was another little bit of a zealot push at the front, but really, that is just bittersweet.
It is. Wow. That's great use of a Nidus right there. We don't see that nearly enough these days. That's something I'd love to see more. It's just that Nidus worm actually getting used.
Yeah, I've had it happen to me before on live stream, no less, and it is just such a terrible feeling. But you really can't hate too much on a Zerg for that. He knew he had to harass somehow. He didn't have the gas necessary to do that with, say, Mutas or maybe even Burrow Infestor, so he went with what he could, and that was a Nidus worm. Played it brilliantly, and it really pays off, because now he's sitting very pretty on 3 bases. Very little saturation on the natural, very little saturation on the main. Protoss is on 1 base, very heavily supply blocked. Right now, Fugit just really needs to reestablish himself and just start that counter harass as soon as possible, since he really doesn't have much in the moment.
Yeah, he just down through on 3 pylons to get that supply back up, and finally his 3rd base. Well, I guess technically it'll be his 2nd base now.
Definitely.
So and he's definitely doing the right thing here. And honestly, I thought that was game over pretty much myself. But the Zerg has no money for a follow-up. Like right now, their minerals are just so low.
Yeah, you are correct. 300. Well, now he just spent up quite a few. Queued up 6 more roaches. But really, at the units tab, he has 9 Zerglings, mostly in the main base of the Protoss player. He's gonna go ahead and swing down and attack that mineral line. That mineral line is just wide open for those Zerglings, nom-noms. And now here come the workers. Kill count is gonna go ahead and go up in the favor of Fugit yet again. 15 already killed by Omnom. 16. Looks like these Zerglings just might want to get where they should, but a main attack is going to go ahead and happen in the front of Omnom's base. Force fields do manage to push away those roaches for some time, but really only 2 sentries there. Not enough for force fields anymore. Looks like these zealots are going to do plenty of damage to these roaches alongside with these immortals, but the roach count is just a little bit too high. 1 immortal goes down, 2 more are left. And now it looks like the Zerglings were cleaned up back in Fugit's base, but mining time was definitely lost. He does have a bank of 1,100 minerals, 300, 400 gas, but final kill count, 21 workers killed to Fugit's 5. And now it looks like OMNOM is broke essentially, but he does have himself quite a bit of defense, while Fugit just cannot launch a counterattack at the moment.
Yep. And one thing I'd like to see, Fugit do is re-grab his main here, because these geysers have 1,500. One has 1,588, and one has 1,900 gas apiece in them. So it's definitely worth him retaking his main if he can.
Definitely. I mean, he's sitting on 800 minerals. What I would like to see Fugit do out of this robotics facility, get himself a warp prism and just start dropping left and right wherever he could, denying buildings, denying tech, denying anything at all possible, just to buy himself the time to retake his natural expansion and just really stabilize, because you can't stabilize if you're not counterattacking or harassing your opponent. And right now, if he just lets his opponent if he tries to restabilize without that, his opponent is going to out macro him and out produce him, especially with 3 bases.
If you're correct on that, and what I'd like to see that War Prism come out here and have it right in that corner on the Zerg's main base where there's no creep and there's also no Overlord there. So he can just get in there, run in real quick, maybe take out the Roach Warren, run straight for the Infestation Pit if he happens to just go to the middle line and see it, maybe even pool or lair, something of that sort. Because the Zerg army is mainly down here, so just kind of poke up front, pull back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's exactly what he should be doing, honestly. I mean, he has an observer there at the main ramp of OMNOM's base, and really the 3rd expansion is done. Another Nidus Worm happens. Here comes Fugit. He actually manages to detect that, sees that, takes it down with Probe Zealot combination, but here he comes, going to go ahead and push forward again, pokes, prods, tries to catch a couple of roaches off guard, but OMNOM is just a little bit too quick, manages to sneak by, loses only 1 roach, and now that force field is actually going to be detrimental in himself. And he's going to go ahead and decide to push forward into that 3rd. Going to dance back and forth, but really the roach count is very high. Nice force field managed to block off the entire ramp. And now the roaches are going to go ahead and get cut in half. Exactly what Fugit wanted. OMNOM doesn't want this. He should have just ran around in through that main ramp, but the force fields finally do go down. But enough damage was done to all those roaches. Going to be a nice little bit of surround. Immediately going for those immortals. Not quite one-shot potential just yet, but he managed to take them down quickly in about 4 volleys. So there you go. No more immortals. Roaches are going to have free reign over everything. Protoss army done. 57 supply now to 128. It looks like just panic cannons are going down in the 3rd, making sure there's not going to get any counterattack. And it looks like Fugit's just going to go ahead and try to reseal himself. Looks like he finished that wall off into that main base. There is another Nidus Worm, and it popped just outside of that 3rd base. Quick rally. Who needs warp pylons and warp tech when you got Nidus Worms? Roach is going to go straight for that mineral line. Great decision making, in my opinion, by OMNOM.
Yeah, this just really goes to show, despite the Protoss' superior upgrades, 1 armor and the 1 attack, these barebone roaches here are just terrorizing this army.
Definitely just throwing away units, showing the power of the Swarm. 216 units lost by OMNOM, but forget that. Who needs that when you got 10,000 roaches at your disposal? He's going to go ahead and focus down the 3rd, and once his 3rd goes down, it's pretty much game over, in my opinion, for Fugit. He only has 600 minerals, and right now OMNOM can just contain his opponent, re-macro up, and really just hit him with anything he so chose if you want to do that, or you can just go straight for the gullet at the moment.
Yep, and we actually got Nidus Worm going down in the main base, right in the original spot actually here. So he has options of where he wants to go. He can hit through the main, he can hit from the 3rd. Really he can go anywhere he wants with this kind of mobility via the Nidus Worm.
Fugit says, you know what, Fugit yet again, I'm just going to go for it. Zealots go down almost instantly. Here comes the Immortal's going to go ahead and try to get himself in an advantageous position, but a nice arc by OMNOM decides to say, you know what, pull back, let's poke and prod, because I got reinforcing roaches from your rear. What are you going to do about it? Nothing really, because these Immortals are doing all they can at the main, at the front. 2 Immortals go down, a 3rd will survive for just a bit. Fugit decides to say, that is it. GG's, leave the game. Great play by the platinum level Zerg going up against that diamond toss. I had a great time casting this game.
I'm just still so shocked though that why he took so long in the beginning to get that gas. I mean, those zealots were nice, but he didn't really need to just forego gas to get them up.
He cut here, he cut there. I mean, what's the count on per worker per minute, per mineral patch? Is it like 150, something like that?
Oh,
Something like
I
that.
want to say, yeah.
Three per assimilator. That's 6, maybe even 9 zealots per minute that you could upgrade it even more, and especially with 8 warp gates running at the same time. I'm assuming that's why he did so. But you were right. It did take him so long to retake it. I mean, as soon as he took down that third twice, your assimilator should have already been up and running. But it was a good play overall. I loved it. I love that Nidus Worm tech being put into play. Really caught the Terran, the Protoss player off guard. Third time is definitely the charm. I will eventually get it on a 3-race game. So that was it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this cast. If not, leave comments down below on what I could do to make these more enjoyable for you guys, or what we can do to make them more enjoyable for you guys. If you guys got a replay of your own you'd like for us to cast, feel free to email us. Upload them to one of the major replay sites, drop.sc, sc2replays.com, if they're still up. And that is it for me. What about you, Esnov?
Yep, that's it for me. I'm gonna definitely go and try and ladder right now. So you guys have a great day.
Yeah, and you as well. Have good luck in the ladder. Later, guys.
Have a good one.